Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Freelance Success Framework podcast series. Hello, Kate.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, I have a feeling that this is going to be a popular episode and maybe one that people skip to. So if you have skipped to this, go back and listen to the other ones once you're done with this one. We have important stuff and all the other stuff too. But if you are very excited by, the potential
Some
of
cash,
earning
a payday,
little cashola, then this one is going to be particularly interesting because the topic is, of course, how soon can you start making money as a freelancer? And the answer is really pretty darn fast.
darn soon.
Pretty darn soon.
So close.
So close. Dang it. Obviously it's going to depend on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you decide to work with us in the Freelance Success Framework, we will give you all of the steps, everything that you need to do to set up your website, to set yourself apart from the competition, to figure out your business structure, which is so much easier than you think it will be, to put together pitch emails, to put together lists of companies to pitch, to do all that stuff. But you do have to take that action. And some people tend to take action a little faster than other people need to take action. We'll give it all to you and support through our coaching calls, but you do have to take the action. That said, though, you also don't necessarily have to have your website up and ready to go to land your first clients.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily have to have everything perfect in order to start earning money. It is perfectly conceivable that you could land your first client within the first week of going freelance. Absolutely. If you're willing to take action right away. And again, it's, some people are a little bit tentative about taking those first steps, which I understand.
Well, some people want their portfolio up before they start pitching, and that's fine. And that's a choice.
Yeah. And obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about this in a couple episodes about why you need, if you're going, well, I'm not a graphic designer. Why do I need a portfolio? I'm a bookkeeper. Why do I need a portfolio? It's actually a little bit, this is one of the techniques that we use that really helps set you apart. We'll talk more about that in a couple of episodes. But if you're hearing portfolio and you find that kind of weird, don't worry, it is a very specific and purposeful tactic. But yes, if you are someone who needs to go in a specific order, then okay, it might take you a little bit more time. But in that case, there's no reason you couldn't land your first client within the first couple of weeks, within the first month. When you have all of the steps, it's really up to you to figure out how you are going to schedule your time to take that action. And it depends on what your goals are too. If you want to be full-time freelance and you want to be full-time freelance as quickly as possible, then you might want to spend a little bit more of your free time dedicated toward building up your business, toward building your website, which again, it has never been easier to build a website. When I think back to when I first started and put together a portfolio, oh God, so easy now. But you might want to dedicate more time up front to get yourself up, set, and ready to go and start pitching right away. So you might want to dedicate more time to it. Or if you're thinking that you want to be freelance for a while and you kind of want to ease into this, then maybe you don't need to spend every night after work building everything up and sending pitches and learning all of this stuff. Maybe you can spend, an hour on Monday night and an hour on Saturday, or, 15, 20 minutes every evening. It's the great thing about starting your freelance business is it's just like your freelance business. It's flexible. It's all based on what you want to do and what works with your schedule. But what it comes down to is that you can start earning very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. The key is you just need a system, right? You can't just announce that I'm freelance and people are going to show up at your doorstep and say, oh, yep, we need you. Yes, you should announce it and tell your network that that is what you are doing, because there might be people who do reach out and who do need your services, and that's great. But with the system and the Freelance Success Framework, for example, you can start pitching immediately. You can, as long as you have that system and you're not just, okay, willy-nilly, Tuesday, I don't have a plan for what I'm going to do. I just am going to show up at my desk and poke around on the internet or get lost down a YouTube rabbit hole, which I know is super easy to do.
Yes.
Uh, all too easy.
Guilty. However, yeah, exactly. It's you get to decide when you start reaching out to clients, and when you get to decide when you're ready to take clients. It's not, like we were saying earlier, it's not wishing and hoping. It's not waiting for a client to land in your lap. That's not a system it's not a system. First of all, wishing and hoping is not a system. And it's not a quote unquote tactic that's going to work. Yes, the more that you get out there, the more that you freelance, and the more that you work with clients, and the more that they see that you are fantastic at what you do and you're professional and you're an amazing partner, yes, you are going to start getting more and more referrals, and that's great. But you still want to keep pitching, and so that you are still in control of the opportunities that are coming in. You're never giving up. And I'm sure there's some people that are like, oh, the idea of control, it's white knuckle, hanging on tight. It's just, maybe if being in charge sounds a little bit better, maybe that sounds a little bit less. But you are in charge. You get to decide. Maybe that's even a better way of putting it. You get to decide how this looks, how much you make, when you want to start, who you work with, all that kind of thing. It's not up to the universe. It's not up to one of your clients remembering you and passing you along to someone else. It's not up to someone maybe picking you out of a bunch of other people who are driving down their rates on, Freelancer or Upwork. It's you get to decide how your freelance business works and when you start earning.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other question that follows along very quickly after when can I start earning is how much can I earn with my freelance business? So again, consistency is the key, having this consistent system that you actually take action on. But it is possible for you to be making six figures. Obviously, that depends largely on your services. You might make significantly more than six figures. I wouldn't say seven figures, but more than 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing the math, see if you want to work 40 hours a week times $50 an hour times 50 weeks, that's 2 weeks vacation. So you might want more vacation and you might have a higher rate. But just that simple equation, that gets you to $100,000. And, again, $50 starting rate for many of you might be significantly low, especially if you have lots of years of experience in whatever skill it is that you're offering or skill that you're doing as a freelancer. It might be 60, it might be 70, it might be 100. So take that equation with a grain of salt, but just to show that math and what that looks like is from a very simple perspective.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you're thinking, well, I don't know what my hourly rate would be, don't worry about it. That was kind of a throwaway way to say it, but I meant to say it in a we got you covered.
We got you.
We got you. In the Freelance Success Framework, we take you through how to figure out what a reasonable hourly rate would be. And then you use that hourly rate to figure out what your project prices should be. Because yes, sometimes you may work hourly if you take a retainer client, and often you'll do project work. But having that hourly rate, you'll be able to estimate how much you make, and then also figure out your project prices. And yeah, to Kate's point, $50 may be chump change depending on your industry. So it is kind of, that number is very ballpark, but for the vast majority of industries, if not, I won't say all, because but the vast majority of industries, six figures is so perfectly possible. Well, and I want you to bear in mind too that everything is factored into those working hours. So for example, if you're a graphic designer, you're not just being paid for the hours that you're doing design, right? And that's not how it would be if you were on staff anyway. Yes, you're paid for your hours, but you're paid for the time you spend concepting. Or I should say, you charge for the time you spend concepting. You charge for the time that you spend on calls with your clients. You charge for the time you make revisions. You charge for the time you collaborate with whomever. All of that is factored into
emails
it.
that people do not try.
Emails.
It takes you a lot of time to write emails. Actually,
Yes.
time yourself sometime.
Yes, exactly. So it's, I don't want you to listen to this and think, oh my gosh, well, I'm going to be fingers to the keyboard or, fingers to the mouse or the stylus, depending whatever it is that you do for 40 hours in order to get to these numbers. No, that is the full encompassing of all of the things that you do in your industry. And again, your hourly rate could be a lot more than that. And as such, if you want to work fewer hours, well, frankly, as long as it meets your goals, you can work fewer hours whenever you want to. It's you get to play with the numbers, you get to figure out what your goals are, you get to figure out what you're comfortable with, and it also is never set in stone. So you could say, you know what, I'm going to try working 25 hours, and this is going to be my going rate, and let's see where this goes. And you may decide, I kind of want to work a little bit more. I like this client, and I want to make a little bit more cash. Let me take on some more. Or you may go, you know what? I want to work 20 hours. I've done 25. I want to do 20. And it doesn't have to stay that either. It could be 20 some weeks. And if you want it to be, it could be 40 other weeks. You can vary it throughout the year, throughout the month. You get to decide.
Yeah. And I would say, again, we say 6 figures, very, very, very possible. Could you get to 7 figures as freelancer? Maybe not 1-to-1, realistically. But there are ways, if you wanted to scale your business, where you could start hiring people under you if you really wanted to, if you get to that point where you have so much work, because you will get to a point likely where you start turning down work because you just don't have the time, or you're so far booked out that you need to refer someone else to take on a project to a client, and that's perfectly doable. You can refer people and build that goodwill. I've referred other copywriters to clients who they've worked with, and they still then come back to me though after that project, because again, goodwill. They liked working with me. They liked working with that other copywriter, but we've built a relationship. So it's not the end of the world. But should you want to scale your business, there are ways to do that.
Exactly. You are, realistically, this is just full transparency. There's only so much that you can charge and only so many hours that you can work. Now, again, you can get into, like Kate said, she got into the multiple 6 figures. And that is perfectly possible for or maybe at least the 6 figures, maybe multiples is possible for you too, depending on what your industry is. 7 figure, $1 million a year is probably, no, I wouldn't even say probably. It's very, very unlikely doing 1-to-1 services. That's full transparency. And quite frankly, anybody who tells you different is selling you a load of something. But if you do want to eventually scale up, you have that possibility as a freelancer. You can start subcontracting. You can create your own kind of mini agency. You can create your own big agency. It's up to you. But, go into this figuring out how much you actually want to make, and then you can work backwards. Okay, well then how much do I need to make each month to get that goal? How much do I need to make each week? And what does that mean in terms of how many clients I need to be working with? It's math, but it's very easy math. And quite frankly, when you're talking about how much money you
earn, and how much you earn,
right? Figuring that, this is fun math. This is math that you will enjoy. So dig in. It will be a lot of fun to play with those numbers and see what it all works out to be. Exactly. So that's what we have for you today. And I hope you're getting excited because, again, you could start earning very, very quickly. If that's what you want to do, you could start earning very quickly. So that could be coming up for you. And of course, what else is coming up is another episode. So we'll see you over there. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on this special Freelance Success Framework video series. If you found us through our free on-demand video training, then you already know 3 of the biggest secrets for building a dependable and scalable freelance business, and you are well on your way to success. If you haven't seen our free video training yet, Be sure to check it out at freelancesuccesstraining.com. We'll see you there.